How is it that you raise $625,000, but you can't afford an appeals attorney? On April 2nd, 2025, Austin and Hunter Metcalf walked under the tent that was designated for their school at a track meet that they were there attending. Sitting underneath that tent was a young black man that we now know to be Carmelo Anthony. Knowing that Carmelo Anthony was not part of their track team because he goes to a different school. These brothers, Austin in particular, asked Carmelo Anthony to leave the tent. It was raining outside, but it's not like he's made of sugar. He can go somewhere else. Instead of just doing what he was asked, Carmelo Anthony opened his backpack where he knew he had a 5-inch, some would call it a hunting knife, and pulled it out of his backpack and stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest, right where his heart was. Austin Metcalf hit the ground and died that day in his brother's arms, all because Carmelo Anthony was asked to leave the tent. My name is Kelly Jackson. This is Still Not Canceled, and thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk about the verdict a little bit. We're going to look at the response from the community of supporters that camped out around the courthouse. And we're going to sort of look at the fact that now it's being reported that Carmelo Anthony has requested a public defender for his appeal that he has filed. Because apparently the $625,000 that his mother raised through Give, Send, Go is gone because you can't get a public defender unless you're broke. So welcome to Still Not Canceled, and we're going to get into all of this right now. Okay, so I'm going to show you really quickly this woman here in the purple outfit and what she has to say about Hunter and Austin Metcalf.
Yeah, I forgot, and the twin brother would have been with him. Fuck it, you see.
They should have both been arrested.
They both should have been dead. The brother, both brothers. Both of them should have been dead. Yeah,
So you heard what she just said. They both should have been dead. So in other words, she wishes that maybe Carmelo Anthony had stabbed the brother too, had stabbed Hunter Metcalf too, because he deserved it. And why? Well, I can tell you exactly why this woman felt he deserved it, because he was white. That's the only explanation that you can come up with as to why she would assert they both deserve to die. Clearly, these people are very angry. I want to take you up here really quickly it was very aggressive. I want to take you to the rant of this young woman right here.
35 years. If he was white, we wouldn't even be here today. It would have never came to court. It would have never been no handcuffs. We wouldn't be here today. But because somebody didn't know how to go get an adult like we all are taught, somebody's life was on the ground and somebody's in jail for something that should have been self-defense.
Okay, I'm going to stop that right there. We're not going to listen to her whole rant because that was enough for me to tell you. First of all, she says there wouldn't have even been handcuffs. If the person who had done the stabbing was white, then there wouldn't have even been handcuffs. We wouldn't even be here. It would have been completely swept under the rug and nothing would have come of it if it had been reversed. I can tell you, first of all, everybody remembers George Floyd. So if the roles had been reversed, if it had been a young black man who had been stabbed in the heart by a young white man, that is not what would have happened. He would have actually probably, even though they were under 18, I would even venture to say that they would have tried to argue for the death penalty for someone who was white, who would have done the same exact thing in the exact same circumstance. If they would have been successful, I don't know, because the federal law says you can't get the death penalty if you commit the crime under the age of 18. So maybe not, I don't know, but I can tell you right now, she is completely wrong. That person, white, black, pink, green, blue, that person committed murder and would have gone to prison. It would have been arrested, and it might have even been worse for them because of the culture. Since George Floyd, it would have been worse. I would posit it would have been worse. I'm speculating, but I think considering what we've all lived through the last 5 years, it would have been worse. I want to share with you really quickly because we're about 5 minutes in. I don't want to go on and on and on. I can be a tangent talker, but I wanted to share this with you. So Carmelo Anthony's $625,000 crowdfunding page yanked. Now they're using that adjective yanked, but it was closed by Give Send Go after murder conviction. The reason that that happened was because you have to state a goal when you start a campaign. The goal was to raise funds for a defense, for a legal defense. Give Send Go is, I think, the only fundraising platform that will allow for raising funds for criminal legal defense. So they raised $625,000 before they closed the account because you can't close it unless there's no money in that campaign. So they had to disperse all the funds. The funds were all dispersed to the family. $625,000. Where did it go? There is so much speculation. There are so many things out there, things that people have said. They bought a house, they bought a car, they paid for security. There's all of these things that they spent the money on. But clearly they didn't spend it on lawyers because now, so here it is. Carmelo Anthony files appeal and claims he's penniless after a $600,000 taken down. It says taken down fundraiser. That's what they do at the end of a campaign. It's just natural, normal for them to do that. Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison after being found guilty of the murder of Austin Metcalf. And again, I shouldn't say lucky. Nobody's lucky in this situation. It's incredibly tragic. But because of the fact that he was 17 when he did this, they can't give him the death penalty. So he may see the light of day someday, where Austin Metcalf never will. He's not coming back. But he filed an appeal of his murder conviction and reportedly claimed he could not afford an appeals lawyer. How is it that you raise $625,000, but you can't afford an appeals attorney? I understand attorneys are expensive. I get it, but I still don't understand. He was sentenced to 35 years in prison. So when they went and filed his appeal on the paperwork, on his appeal, it indicates that he's indigent and cannot afford an attorney for his appeal. So what I want to know is, where in the heck did all of those people that donated money to him, where did all of that money go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? And I want to know exactly why it is if this woman, his mother, the Give Send Go people have said, oh, you know, you can start another campaign. She can start another campaign for his appeal because he has a new tranche of charges that are of legal fees he's going to be facing because they're going to be going to court and they're going to be appealing the conviction. Not sure what they're going to be using for a premise because he sat under that tent knowing he had a knife, knowing that he would be able to defend himself or seriously harm someone. When I say defend himself, I guess it would depend on what he anticipated facing. But either way, you know you've got a knife in your bag and you're sitting under the other school's tent, knowing someone's going to say something to you. That sounds like premeditation to me. So it's really hard to overturn a first-degree murder conviction when premeditation is relatively obvious. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about doing this. I know I'll be watching it, and it's just unfortunate. I'm thankful that the Metcalf family got justice for their son. But what I would love to see is these young kids like Carmelo Anthony stop expecting that they can just go about life, do whatever it is that they feel like doing or that they feel justified doing, carrying it out and not expecting to see consequences. And then if they actually get consequences, then blame it on racism. I'd really love to see the end of that. But I don't know. George Floyd really did a number on our culture. We'll see what happens. My name is Kelly Jackson. If you have any comments about this case, I would love to hear them. I would love to discuss them maybe in a follow-up video. I'll be following his appeal and making videos about that. I am still not canceled, and I really appreciate you being here today. Thanks so much, and I will see you again soon. Bye.